Amanda Geard's The Moon Gate was published in 2023, and it was a really memorable reading experience for me. It's one of the best books I've read, and this is in large part down to the fact that it's 500 pages, in the hardback at least, and there just isn't a lick of filler in there at all. So I want to talk about this book in more detail. This is a triple narrative and timeline novel. There is one narrative in the 1940s in the war that is set in Tasmania in Australia. There is one in the 1970s that is mainly in London. And there is one in the early noughties that is also in London. The first follows a girl who is sent from London during the war to Tasmania to evacuate basically and be safer. She's got to live out the war with her housekeeper's daughter because this daughter is somehow her mother's favourite child. The second narrative concerns a man's search for his wife's biological parents and the accident that he gets into. And that is not a spoiler because the third narrative is of his daughter who has come to London from Australia, or she already lives in London. I can't remember that detail. And she is there to find out what happened with her father in terms of what he was looking for and what he was doing in London at the time he died. This is an incredibly immersive book, and it's lovely to have a book that looks at the war, but not from the European or US perspective, but Australia. This book has plot and character both, and there's a lot of theme work. I think that for me, in this case, it was the theme of grief, that was the most compelling aspect because pretty much everybody is grieving somebody. But you've also got different stances about the war, you've got questions of adoption, and you've got a lesser known historical event in the London's Moorgate tube crash. That was in 1975 and it was pretty horrific. I wouldn't necessarily recommend looking it up online. If you do, just be careful about the information you find. Lastly, I should also note that there's poetry in this book. Banjo Paterson, one of Australia's famed classical poets, is included as well. At least his poetry is. He isn't himself. He's already dead when this book takes place. Definitely, though, it's the reading experience itself that was the absolute critical part for me. Now, I've said before, though not on video, that this book is sublime, and I have no idea how Amanda Geard is going to do better in her third book, but at the same time, I absolutely know she is. Her first book, The Midnight House, was good. It was really good. But then this book came and basically blew that one out of the water and made it seem average by comparison. So I am really looking forward to seeing what she does in her third book. But as for The Moon Gate, if you like historical fiction and you like some mystery, you can't go wrong if you choose this one.